In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. Welcome, everyone. I know a lot of people have been traveling. I myself have been traveling, so it's nice to have everyone back. I've been on a kick lately. This is just like a one-off topic. We're not a series, but I've been on a kick lately of the importance of the Christian gospel of love. That the gospel itself has to be a gospel of love. And many of us prefer the gospel of like speaking to others and preaching and all that is of course very, very important. But the highest level and expression of the Christian life is love. And St. Paul makes it very, very clear that if we do anything, if you have the faith to move mountains and you have not love, you are what? He says you're nothing. He says like, there's no, like he's not even going to say, he just says you don't exist. You don't exist. You're nothing. You're nothing if you have not love. And more than ever, I feel as though I want us to understand the power of loving with our words. Loving with your words. Words are so powerful, and like small things can determine great outcomes. Small words can do great things, and they can do very, very bad things. So we're going to read a small passage in the book of James. Actually, I thought I put the other verses, but because I have found people that have been so encouraged and so uplifted that people's words, like the words of believers, are life-giving, and people have received like life from other persons, loving words, not just convincing words. I know very, very few people. I've had the blessing of being on mission trips. I've been serving for the last 30 years on mission trips. Rarely have I found anyone that came to the faith by a debate. It's rare. I mean, I've gotten in debates with all walks of life. People can be convinced up here, but they may not be convinced where in here. In the fall of man, there's something called fragmentation that took place. When Adam fell, there was a break between what's in the mind and what's in the heart. If I told you, tell me about like the grace of God, you can tell me, oh yeah, he loves everybody, he forgives, he died on the cross for everyone, no matter what your sin is, he can, okay, the grace of God. How many of you understand it in here when you need the grace of God? How many of you, when you sin and when you fall, understand it here? Well, you say, okay, I get it here, and I could preach it. If I want to give you a whole sermon about it, I can give you a sermon about it. But understanding it in here, there's a break. It's called fragmentation, okay? And so we also want to make sure that we don't have this fragmentation in our spiritual lives. That it's not like, okay, I know what we're supposed to do. If you tell me what is the Christian life, you say it's loving God and loving your neighbor. But when it comes to how I feel in my heart, we might say, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. You're asking too much. You say, okay, but somebody told me, Abuna, you're too dramatic. And I said, why? They said, you're just dramatic. And I said, why? They said, you're asking us to be up here, and I feel like that's not relatable. And I said, really? You think I want you to be up here? That means the message has been delivered correctly. If I want you to be just like little mice running around, playing around, and being nothings, then yeah, I'll just be practical, and you guys all think that we're all great friends. No. The gospel is to take you up here, to be like Christ. So if what we're going to say is dramatic, good, that means that is the gospel, because the gospel is not just this, it is not the word of common man, it is the word of God. And so we're going to read a passage in James chapter 3. It's the golden chapter about the sins of the tongue. I'm going to read verse 2. I didn't put it in the PowerPoint, and then we'll start from verse 3. It says, for we all stumble in many things. If anyone does not stumble in word, he is a perfect man and able to bridle the whole body. Do you guys understand what that means? He's saying, if you don't stumble in your words, you're actually perfect. How powerful are the words that if you don't stumble in your words, then you can actually be a perfect man. Able also to bridle the whole body. You can control anything if you can control your tongue. Now let's look at verse 3. Indeed, we put bits in horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn their whole body. You guys know what that means? When they put like a little thing in the horse's mouths, and you can pull this huge, powerful horse just by its mouth. If you just pull whatever it's grabbing on in its teeth, you can shift the movement of a whole powerful horse. And then he says, look also at ships. Although they are so large and are driven by fierce winds, they are turned by a very small rudder wherever the pilot desires. Even so, the tongue is a little member and boasts great things. See how great a forest a little fire kindles. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. The tongue is so set among our members that it defiles the whole body and sets on fire the course of nature. And it is set on fire by hell. With it we bless our God and Father, and with it we curse men who have been made in the similitude of God. Pay attention to that part. With it we bless our God and Father, and with it we curse men. Okay, we understand that part. Who have been made in the similitude of God. Who have been made in the image of God. Who have been made in the likeness of God. Imagine that somebody has been made in the image of God, and I can curse them. I can curse them. If I brought an icon of here, if I brought an icon of Saint Mary, and I said, all right, guys, can you guys just, let's go at it. Let's curse this icon out. What would you say? Abuela Paul has lost his mind. Abuela Paul has lost his mind. What is he saying? Is he crazy? This is an icon of Saint Mary. Like, we can only bless when we see an icon of the Lord or of Saint Mary or of one of the, you can only bless. And when you look to your brother, and when you see your brother, and I say, okay, let's stand up this terrible person and let's curse them. You're like, Abuna, let me at him. Let me at him. I have so much that I want to say to them. Say, but they are what? In the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceed blessing and cursing, my brethren. These things ought not to be so. Every conversation moves a relationship in some direction. Every single thing that you say to each other, with each other, about one another, can move a relationship either towards, like you can build a relationship, or you can do what? You can tear down a relationship. I want you to think about your words, and our tongue often determines the direction of your spiritual life. It tells me where you are going by the words that you say. So if I were to have you do an inventory of the heart, an inventory of the words, and you were to say, what would be reflective of my spiritual life? Think about my sense of humor. Think about the way we joke, the way that we talk about one another, talk about our friends. And when I say talk about our friends, you might think of talk negatively about. But what I mean, like when I speak about somebody, I speak of them, I see like virtue in them, and I see, like something that is worth praising. So as we start to get into this point, I want us to understand the power of words. What is the power? It says the tongue is like a rudder. It's like the rudder of a ship. Like the ship, you can have a cruise ship. Do you guys know how a whole cruise ship can turn? What a rudder is? What's the rudder part? There's no picture. You guys know what a rudder is? It's that little thing that just goes like this. It's like a little thing that just goes like this, and a whole ship can be turned. So imagine the Bible's telling us that, look also at ships, although they are so large and are driven by fierce winds, they are turned by a very small rudder wherever the pilot desires. I want you to think for a second, what is the influence that your tongue has had in the last several months? I want you to think, whether you realize it or not, your tongue has moved a major ship. Maybe it's moved a relationship. Maybe it's moved someone's heart towards you, towards God, towards an enemy. Or you've moved somebody's heart completely in an opposite direction. I want you just to kind of evaluate your words and think about, if I were to be judged, and the Bible says every idle word, in Matthew 12:37, every idle word will be held accountable on the day of judgment. Every single word. And Pope Shenouda one time said, what is an idle word? He said, any idle word that is not building the kingdom of God or not working for the kingdom of God is an idle word. Any word that is not edifying and directing people towards the kingdom of God is an idle word. You're going to have to give an account to that. So I want you to think, your little tongue has been used how many times? I think I said this before. You know, when they do marriage counseling, they say the amount of words that a woman uses in a day. Anyone know? Like 500. No, I'm just kidding. It's like, I think it's like 5,000, okay? And they say like the man has like 3,000, okay? Usually the man has all of his words finished by the time he gets home, and the woman has been saving all of her words ready to give it to her husband so she can have an intimate conversation with him. So we have a lot of words. I want you to imagine if today is Thursday, you've been going to work for 4 days. Ladies, you've spoken over 20,000 words, okay? You're like, I got way more than 20,000, I'm sure. I want you to think about what your words did. How many things could you have built with your words? And how many things could you have torn down? And let's say, thank God, most people didn't hear your words. Maybe what you said was just either to yourself or to a best friend or to maybe a parent or a sibling. Okay, those words, let's assume those words are not getting out. If those words were to get out, would they change the world or not? It's amazing. You know, by the grace of God, we have a website called Orthodox Sermons. We'll sit here. Today's sermon is going to be posted. I don't know where it's going to go. Right now I'm speaking to 150 people. It's going to go online. And every word that I say is going to go somewhere. It's going to go somewhere. And I'm going to get feedback. One time somebody said, Abuna, you have to be careful. Sometimes my kids are watching your sermons. Sometimes I'm like very casual with my words. They said, be careful, Abuna, of the things that you say. One time I said, like, what the heck? And the parents told their kids, we don't say what the heck. So Abuna Paul like ruined everything. So forgive me, family out there. So I want you to think that my words are going to go out. They're going to do something to someone. They're either going to build or they're going to tear down. They're going to direct something somewhere. God desires so much that our words would steer people toward Christ. And we're going to talk about what that means. Does it mean just preaching the gospel and telling them nice things about Jesus? That's part of it. But I actually want you to think in the context of your relationships and what you want for your friendships and what you want for the people in your life and what you will do with your words in the context of those relationships. So we said it's a bit that directs horses' mouths, it's a rudder, and it is like a fire that consumes an entire forest. How many of you guys have experienced this before? How many of you have said something that you realized, oh my gosh, I just lit my whole family on fire with one snappy word to my mom or to my sister, like, okay, or like I said something, I'm like, oh Dad, did you hear what Mom said about you a minute ago? And all of a sudden, now we have a war in the house. And you're like, okay, now Mom and Dad don't want to talk, and they're not talking for days, and they're so angry, and you're like, what in the world? I just said one little word, and it started a forest fire. How many of us have experienced the power of our words? I want you to think about how far your words have gone and what they've done. All of us, because we have so many words, have done a lot of damage. I want you to think about this forest. It's not burned by a large fire, but a forest can be built by what? One single spark. You guys know that? That one person like throwing like a cigarette in a forest could all of a sudden just like lit like the whole, Amazon on fire. How in the world could you imagine that one spark, one uncalculated word that is not used for the glory of God, what is the forest fire that can take place? How long does it take to build trust with somebody? What do you guys think? How long, with some of your friendships, how long does it take to build trust?
A couple of weeks.
Okay, some people say a couple of weeks. Some people say months. Some people say, years. Okay? And how quick is it to lose trust? How quick does it take to lose trust? Seconds. One sentence, you're like, whoa, I'm never telling him anything again. Right? Like, it just takes one word to tear down trust and then to rebuild it again. You're like, oh my gosh, are we really going to start from zero? And the person is thinking, 100% we're starting from zero. Okay? I can't trust you. I don't know what you say. I don't know whatever. And so we all of a sudden now we go down this path. How many of us have scars from one word that somebody said? Somebody said one word, even unknowingly. They said it casually. They were joking. They didn't mean it. It was a slip of the tongue. And how many of us have a scar that's like been there since like third grade, right? There are people that like they want to do like plastic surgery from one single like insensitive tunt that when you went to Egypt, they said, "Oh, you got so much bigger, you got so much taller or uglier, or whatever." They said, like some insensitive grandma said something, and that's it. The person like doesn't want to live anymore, and you're like, really? Just like that, like one word can cause a scar for life. We don't think of the power of our words. Before speaking, there are 3 questions we need to ask. Before we speak, we need to ask ourselves 3 questions. Number 1, when you say a word, you need to ask yourself, will this heal? Why am I saying healing? Why does healing matter? Sometimes we are sharp with our words. Let's say somebody says, Abuna Paul, you are a jerk. Abuna Paul, you're a jerk. Okay, I can take that and be very, very angry. Or the message of me being a jerk could say, there's something wrong with me that needs to be fixed. So there's a way to say, Abuna Paul, you're a jerk. You can say it angrily, and I'm like, okay, well, I hate your guts forever. Or I can say, when you came and said, Abuna Paul, you are this. Am I letting it heal? And so when I give words, no matter how sharp they are, no matter how loving they are, no matter how correct and accurate they are, do I have the intention of healing my brother? And this is where the gospel kicks in. Is that every one of us, I can find something wrong in any one of you guys. Okay? And I can very clearly make you know what is wrong with you. And you will know, and maybe it will leave a scar in your life forever. But if the goal is that I need you to know what I need you to know so that you could be healed, then we have a room full of world changers. That every time I speak to somebody, it's for their healing. When I confront, we're going to talk about this a little bit more. Number 2, will this hurt? Does it matter if it hurts? What do you guys think? Okay, let's say I'm going to say something and it's going to hurt. Does that mean I shouldn't say it? Give me any clear sign. Will this hurt? Can I say something that hurts? Is it Christian to say something that hurts? Excellent. How? I can't hear anything that anyone's saying.
If they can bear it.
If they can bear it, excellent. Okay. If it's the truth, and we're going to get to that. Very good. If it's the truth. Like sometimes the truth hurts. So the Bible, what else? If it's with love, what does the Bible say about that? Speak. Okay, one person knows the verse. Speak the truth what? In love. Speak the truth in love. So it is okay to speak the truth, and sometimes, in boundaries they teach that I'm not responsible for other people's unhealthy reaction to something. Let's say I say, you know what, I don't think I'm going to be able to join you where you're going. I don't think what you're doing is right, and I don't think it's a safe place for us to go. I'm not going. Well, fine. Then you don't love me, and you don't care, and okay, you're just judging me, and I'm not responsible for your crazy reaction. I'm telling you what you need to hear. This is not a good thing. You flip out. You don't want to be my friend. You go crazy. I'm not responsible for your unhealthy reaction when I give the truth or when I say what is right. I want you guys to learn this lesson, that if I say something that I believe is correct and is for your well-being and needs to be said to set a boundary or to protect you or to do, no matter what is the consequence of that, I'm not responsible for your unhealthy reaction. But it doesn't mean that we just light people on fire like that. First things, we want to love people with honest words. We want to love people with honest words. What does it mean to love people with honest words? Ephesians 4:15 says, "But speaking the truth in love, we may grow up in all things into him who is the head, Christ." So to love people with honest words, we have to understand that Christ himself, he never lied to save someone's feelings. Jesus never lied and said, "Oh, no, really, there's nothing wrong with you." The sinner woman, the adulterous woman, when he came to her, what did he tell her? He said, "They don't condemn you and I don't condemn you, but what? Go and sin no more." Okay? He was honest. "Hey, lady, let's be honest. You're a sinner. I'm not here to judge you, but you need to stop sinning. He told other people, otherwise a worse thing will what? Come upon you." And so sometimes I have to be honest. Am I honest with my words? Jesus never lied to protect himself. Jesus confronted sin. How many of us are bold enough to confront sin? Well, this person is they should know that they are messed up. They've hurt us. I don't need them as a friend anymore. Okay, did you ever confront them and say, "Hey, you have a problem in your life that I think needs to be healed in your life"? What do you guys think about this concept of confronting sin? Is it our responsibility to confront sin? Be honest. Okay, if they're Christian.
If they're because a non-Christian, you can't expect them to act Christianly. But if you're in a Christian relationship, this person says they're a Christian, and you're in friendship with them, and it is your duty to tell them that they're sinning, because otherwise they will stray from Christ, and it's our duty to build each other up.
Excellent. How do we take that when that happens towards us? What you said is right. How do we take? Let's be honest. Do we like it? No. Well, you should, remove the log from your own eye before you look at mine. Look, I have problems. I admit I have problems. And it's like you said, if I love you, and you are, do we believe that sin is a poison? It's a poison in someone's heart. So if I allow you to continue in sin because I love you, then I really don't love you. I have to make sure that I'm helping you. And I think so many of us are afraid to confront people in their sin with love. I don't confront from people up here, even in confession. Even confession, your spiritual father will say, "Okay, let us work on that. Let's be careful of the sins of our tongue." Look, hey, this is not my confession, buddy. This is your confession. No. Even Abuna says, "Yeah, this is a sin. Let us work on this. Let us be careful of this. Let's guard our eyes. Let's be wiser about where we go." Even that is the approach of, I want your well-being and I want my well-being. How many of you are willing to confront sin and you say, "Hey, and if you see something I'm doing, I really want you to tell me"? What do you guys think? Is that a expected thing? I have a feeling I'm going to move on to this point and you're not convinced about the confrontation of sin. What do you guys think about confrontation of sin? Yes or no?
I think it's easier when someone close.
Okay, so let's say there should be a relationship there. Very good. Okay.
I would agree with this. There has to be some kind of pre-existing
Relationship.
Someone that I'm close with. If I see my brother doing something that's wrong, then I'll go ahead and say, "Hey, man, this isn't a good path that you're on." But if it's we all do respect somebody here or
Somebody you don't know.
yeah, we go to church, but I don't know you, so it's
Okay.
there's a little bit of a barrier.
For sure. For sure. When Jesus confronted the Pharisees, how well did he know them? He knew them. He knew those guys. He knew those guys. I don't know if he was friends with them necessarily. Okay. We say that he was the friend of what? Tax collectors and sinners. We don't know that he was the friend of, we don't call him the friend of Pharisees. Not to say he didn't like them. I'm sure he loved them. But he confronted them. So in what cases is it right for when Jesus confronted the Pharisees to tell them, "Hey, you're cleaning the outside of the cup while the inside is what? Filthy." He says, "You guys are like dead man's bones, that you're whitewashed tombs," right? People, they used to like paint over tombs. So you walk on it, you don't realize that there's dead people under the tombs, okay? It says, you guys are like whitewashed tombs, and Jesus is sticking it to the Pharisees. Okay, in what context would we ever confront the sin of a stranger? Or not, maybe not a complete stranger, but somebody that something needs to be addressed. He's protecting who? Exactly. So if somebody is going around hurting others, if I'm going around hurting others, whether you know me or not, for the sake of the others, you'd say, hey, Abuna Paul, be careful, you're hurting other people. What you're doing is hypocritical. What you're doing is wrong. Look, who are you to tell me? I don't care who you are. What you're doing is hurting others, right? And so there was an aspect of protecting people. Next, he confronted the disciples. Let's move on. Truth without love becomes cruelty. If you give the truth and you have not love, you're just being cruel. You're sticking to somebody without the goal of growing them. I'm just telling you, hey, you just need to know you're ugly. It's the truth, buddy. If you're giving them the truth, something that needs to be fixed, with no intention of communicating love, be careful. You're just trying to either win an argument, but what the real goal is, us as Christians, are you restoring people? How many people are you restoring? I have a friend in my life that in this relationship, the person is confronting me and saying, Bueno, Paul, this is a problem in your life. Maybe I get defensive, maybe whatever, and eventually the person says, I'm so committed to you. We're going to fight about this for the next 10 years. We're going to fight it, but you're not going to continue in this messed up habit that you have of your life. I'm committed to restoring you because this is not good. Well, you have this problem. Okay, you're right. I have that problem. But that's besides the fact right now. We're focusing right now on Abuna Paul. You have an issue. You have an issue. I want to ask you guys, what friendships have you, which ones of your friends have you actually restored through your patient confrontation of love? Can you look back at your friendships? Think about how many fallen out friendships you have. I have 10 people I can name off I don't like them, I don't talk to them, they are out. I cut them out, they're gone. I want to ask you guys, how many people have you cut out of your life, okay, that you actually tried to restore and to heal over and over and over and over again? Do you guys have those friendships? Or how many people do you have just we've agreed that you're messed up and I'm messed up, you do your bad thing, I do my bad thing, we'll keep a distance. That's not love. And this is where I'm trying to take our group here and take you to another level. This is the Christian walk. The Christian walk is we heal people. The healing of the sick is not healing of blindness and cancer and paralysis. Those are, forgive me, the lowest forms of healing. You can go to heaven and die of cancer. You can't go to heaven and die of pride. God doesn't need to heal the cancer. He doesn't need to heal the blindness. But He does need to heal the pride. And He does need to heal the sins of the tongue. He does need to heal the envy inside of you. And so I want to know, do I have a friend in my life that loves me so much that wants to restore me and says, Paul, I don't care. I don't care if you hate my guts. I love you too much for you to continue in this way. How many of you can think of a friend that you know wants to restore you and is willing to continue fighting with you over and over about your ugly habit or ugly behavior until you're healed? How long does a bad habit take to heal? I want to ask you this.
It depends on what the bad habit is.
Think of, let's say it's an addiction. Anybody have like a bad habit, like an addiction? Drinking, smoking, lust, whatever. Is it something that you just say, okay, that's it, I'm done. I decided I'm never going to drink another drink again. Does it work that way?
No.
I am never going to have an outburst of anger again. Does it work that way? No. If I were to go to a therapist, my therapist would say, okay, Paul, I understand you have a problem. I don't expect, we meet weekly, that by next week you're going to say, all right, good, I stopped drinking. What does my therapist know? This is going to be a long process. There's going to be a lot of give and take. Okay, how'd you do last week? Okay, why'd you do it? What got you there? And there's a lot of patience. Again, you went to the same place again. You walked down the same street that has bars in it. Again, that's it. I have a problem. Does the therapist do that? Does the therapist, again, you walk down the street that has a bar in it? What does the therapist do? They try to rewire the brain to say, we need to find a different pathway to walk. We need to find a different way to approach so that you don't fall in this habit. The reason why I'm harping on this is because I don't believe that there's many people that know how to be friends anymore. I'm talking about Christ-like, I love you too much to just cut you off. You're stupid. We need to fix it. Okay? You're a stupid person. You don't know it yet. One day I'm going to help you realize that you're stupid. I'm joking. But do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know. Now I want you to think, okay, you're thinking about who's like that to you. Who are you thinking that you are like? Are you that to anyone else? But this person has a problem. They're defensive, they're insecure, they're liars, they're gossip, whatever it is. How committed are you to healing them? What's going to happen when you, if you befriend like a porcupine? You want to hug a porcupine, what's going to happen? Eventually, you're going to keep on getting pricked. But that's what friendship, that's what Christ-like friendship is. It is saying, I understand I'm going to get pricked by some of this relationship. You say, okay, Paul, how far do I go? When I get to the point where I realize, okay, I'm trying, the relationship is getting worse, it's becoming more toxic, I can't heal them. Clearly, I'm not the one that's going to heal them. Then I pass them on to John. I say, John, you're going to be much better at helping Joe fix this problem in his life. I really tried. We have a toxic relationship. It's getting worse. We're not understanding each other. I promise you I tried over and over and over again. Hey, John, can you carry on moving, trying to heal this person? Love without truth becomes compromise. Avoiding difficult conversations is not love. Avoiding difficult conversations is what? Avoiding difficult conversations is not love, it's selfishness. You don't care about me. You don't want to give me the medicine of immortality for my soul. So when we speak the truth in love, number one, ask myself, okay, is it true, what I'm going to say, is it true? Before I confront you, is it true? Number two, is it loving? Is there love in it? So there has to be truth, there has to be love. Number three, is it the right time? Do you guys realize that there's a timing also? Like you can't, there's times where there's like a lot of just like tension in the room. It's not the time to confront, right? Okay, let things calm down, sit on it for a little bit, and then say, okay, we really need to have conversation. So there's a timing for it. Is it the right time? And number four, is God being glorified? Does anyone care about that anymore? Does anybody care if God is being glorified? That I really want the Lord to find his child back, to find this person healed, to find this person blessed. Is God being glorified in this friendship? But before that, be honest with yourself first. Okay? So when we are honest with our words, we're talking about honesty with our words, I have to be honest with myself first. Remove my own plank. What do I need to fix? Okay, I realize that I have a problem as well. I am sure that you are stupid. But am I sure that I'm also stupid yet? Have I discovered my own issues? I have a lot of energy to find your mistakes. And I see them clear as day. How clear do I see my own? How clear can I see my own? Be careful of that lack of awareness of yourself. Next thing is love people with careful words. The Bible says, be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath, nor give place to the devil. Be careful during anger. Are you careful with your words? Some people, like a sharp dagger, okay? The goal is to heal. I want us to always know that with my words, my goal is to do what? To heal. How careful are you with your words? Be careful about gossip. There's a story of a saint, a spiritual saint, who told another person about gossip. He said, I want you to take a pillow filled with feathers, and I want you to take the feathers, and I want you to go and spread them throughout the street. Go down the road and just take out all the feathers and spread them around. The person went, came back and said, Father, I did it. He said, great. I need you to go and collect all the feathers. And he said, I can't. He says, what do you mean? You tossed them everywhere. Go get them. He said, I can't. He says, why not? He says, the wind carried them to places I don't know where they're at. Your gossip is going to carry to places you have no idea. You could have made something up just to get into somebody's mind, and now this person has a reputation that is not even true. Be careful. I'm going to tell you something about gossip. He who lives by the sword, what? Dies by the sword. If you gossip, this is the rule in the Christian life. If you gossip and hurt somebody, it will happen to you. You also will be gossiped about. Anybody like that? Anybody like that people are gossiping about them? No way. Be careful of gossip. Another thing is, I want to ask you, if that person comes back and says, hey, Brother Paul, I heard that you said that I was 1, 2, and 3. You're like, oh, it's clearly I said this exact sentence. How would you feel if the person said, oh, by the way, I heard that you were at a gathering yesterday and you said that I was 1, 2, and 3. How would you feel in that moment? You want the earth to open and to swallow you and to close up on top of you, okay? Nobody likes that. So it's better. I know some people say, I don't want to know. Oh, did you hear? I don't want to know. Because if somebody asks me, I don't want to know anything. Don't tell me what they did. Don't tell me what they didn't do. Don't tell me what they could have done. Go tell them. Don't tell me, tell what? Them. How many of you direct people to go and go fix it with the person that you're upset at? Can you believe that she did marche? No, I can't believe it. Did you go talk to her? No. Okay, so what are you doing? You're actually devouring her. You're hurting her or him or whoever it is that's in your life. Be careful about gossip. Have I spoken to the person? Am I helping solve the problem? Another thing is I want you guys to learn is be careful with too many words. Proverbs 10:19 says this, in the multitude of words, sin is not lacking. Anyone believe in this verse? In the multitude of words, what? Can you guys look at the screen? Sin. Hey, in the multitude of words, what? Who saw Abuna Elijah's sermon last Sunday? There was like viral on. That was like the beginning of the reel. Was that's how Abuna Elijah started his reel. In the multitude of words, sin is not lacking, but he who restrains his lips is wise. Watch your words. We love with our words. Do you understand? The message is, what do we do with our words? We build, we love, we heal, we encourage, we don't tear down. Learn the other person's communication style. Some people say, "Ana mish kida." That's not me. I don't care if it's not you. What we teach people, you guys heard the concept of like love languages? Do you guys know what love languages are in intimate relationships? You say, okay, if I want to communicate love, I could be telling them I love them in Spanish, but they don't understand Spanish. I'm trying to communicate love, they don't get it. I have to find out, what do they understand? What is the right approach for them? For me to bring healing, maybe they're going to understand it in a certain way. Maybe they need firmness. You say, you're too sweet, I didn't get it. Another person, you stick them with a sword, and they're like, finally, somebody's just telling me exactly what my problem is. Everybody has a communication style. We need to find out, how is it that the other person understands my words? How well do you understand the communication styles of the loved ones in your life? How many of you know under the communication style of your dad? Communications of your dad is what? Don't talk to me, please. Give me, what are communication styles? What do people want to hear? Let me hear from you guys. Huh? Time? Like the spending time? Okay. No, I'm not talking about love languages. Communication style. What are ways that you have effective way of getting through to them? Okay? Being respectful. Excellent. Some people say gentleness. Direct versus indirect, right? Examples and stories like just shut up and say it. Like, what's the problem? I don't understand chapter 5 of this whole book that you just wrote. Just tell me what's the problem. Okay? Very good. Direct versus indirect. Thank you very much. What else? Sandwich. Something nice, but you're stupid, but I love you. Okay? Sandwich. That's a very, very good method. What's the goal of the communication? So communication is to figure out, okay, I have a goal. Am I trying to encourage them? Am I trying to correct them? Am I trying to heal them? Very good. Okay, so understand the person's communication style. Love people with building words. Look what St. Paul says in Galatians 6:1. Brethren, if a man is overtaken in any trespass, key word is what? Look at that verse. Brethren, if a man is overtaken in any trespass, what's the key word? Okay. Brethren, if a man is overtaken in any trespass. Is there a key word in that phrase? When you read the Bible, always find out, St. Paul uses like keywords that it adds like weight to the keyword is any trespass. Not trespass. You're like, no, like it's fine if they did this, but if they did this. No. He says, any trespass. You who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, considering yourself lest you also be tempted. Restore such a one. Speak according to their need. Say what they, not what they want to hear, say what they need to hear. Say what they need to hear. Ask yourself, what does this person need? How can my words bring grace to their life? Next. Leave every person better than you found them. Okay, you broke off a friendship. Anybody break off a friendship before? A lot of nice people in here. Nobody broke a friendship. Can you say that I tried to leave them off as a better person? That I'm sure that in my relationship with them, they were messed up. I am sure that I tried to make them off a better person. I tried to teach them, to show them love, to teach them the right, to care for them, to build them up. Make sure these are the concepts of loving with our words. Last thing, and then we're going to have some discussion questions. Use this acronym, think before you speak. Letter T, is it truthful? What you say. Be careful. I have a person in my life, they said, Buna, be careful. Don't exaggerate. I'm very expressive. So when I really want to drive home a point, I'll be like, this person did it 400 times. Like, really? 400 times? I'm like, read between the lines. They did it once, okay? Okay. Be clear. Be clear. Be truthful. Letter T. T is truthful. H, is it helpful? St. Paul said this to the elders of Ephesus. He says, I held back nothing that was needful for you. Is it helpful to tell them what you're telling them? Let's say you told me, oh my gosh, everybody was talking about you yesterday. It was really bad. Is that helpful? We love that thing, that statement. Oh my gosh, everybody was saying that. It's not helpful, Habibi. Be wise. You're killing people. We're killing people. There are people that go home and they lose all hope in their life. Be careful of that. T, truthful. H, helpful. I, is it inspirational? Am I inspiring? Can I say something that would uplift them? That would motivate them in their life to be better, to grow, to heal, to... N, is it necessary? What would something not be what would not be necessary at some point? What would be something that is not necessary to say? Yesterday your clothes didn't match. If it was today, it's a different story. Yesterday, you already look like a crazy person. But today we don't want to look like a crazy person, so go change your outfit. Very good. That's a good one. That's a good example. What else? Necessary. Is it necessary? The question is to say, what is the goal? Is it necessary? Is this, they actually should not go any forward without knowing. They should know this. Not that everyone is gossiping about them, but they should know, hey, sometimes you come off as whatever, rude. They need to know that. They need to know that because, sometimes I tell people, in this stage of life, I say, guys, this is a very, very important stage of life. You guys are applying for your jobs. You guys are in interviews. You're meeting future spouses. Fix yourself. It's like I say, look, you need to hear this. You're at this stage of life, better yourself now. Don't come to me when you're 35 and say, nobody told me. You're going to hear it now. You need to hear things that are necessary for you. And K, this is a very simple one, but a very important one. There's a new word in the English language called kindness. Have we heard of it? Kindness, ya habibi. Jesus is kind. Jesus is so kind. The Holy Spirit is kind. Love is what? Kind. We have a lot of funny people that are kindness, ya jama'a. Kindness. It's like just, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? Be kind, habibi. Be loving. Be like Christ. That's the goal. And you guys will have edifying relationships. We have some discussion questions. John, come and direct us.